All right, so in this activity, it is the 8.3, 8.4 study guide. So it's all about standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c. In this case, we have negative 5x squared plus 2x minus 9, and it's asking the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is the c value, which is negative 9, but remember it's an ordered pair. And a y-intercept will always have x that is 0. On the graph, you do not move left or right any. Here on the graph, you would go down 9. Same thing, the c value, so it's negative 6. X is always 0. Check it. Now for the axis of symmetry, we want to remember that it's x equals the opposite of b over 2a. Our a value is 5, our b value is negative 4, our c value is negative 6. So what we want to do is put those values into the calculator. So the opposite of negative 4, so 2 negatives, over 2 times our a value, which is 5. So it's going to get you a negative and negative, which is really a positive, 4 over 10. So 4 over 10 reduces or simplifies to 0.4. Remember, axis of symmetry is a line, so it needs to be x equals. Now, what we do, we plug that into our equation. So we had y equals our 5, put in the 0.4. Don't forget the square, minus 4. Put in the 0.4, and then minus 6. So all of that goes into the calculator. Make sure that you use parentheses correctly. Then the minus 4 times 0.4 minus 6. So that gets you the y value. Now remember, the vertex is the x value that you just found, so 0.4, and then your y value that you just found. Okay, so we want to find the equation of this rectangle. So I'm going to put the x and the 4 here. That should look like a 4, sorry if it doesn't. And then the 3x minus 5. Now remember, it says area, so we're multiplying. 3x times x is just 3x squared. Negative 5 times x is negative 5x. Remember, that was supposed to be a 4. 4 times 3x is 12x. And then 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. So I already have the f of x there for you. So 3x squared, nothing combines with it. Negative 5x plus 12x gets you a positive 7x, and then the minus 20. All right, so how long does it take for the ball to reach the maximum height? Once again, this is your x equals the opposite of b over 2a. So opposite of 46 over 2 times our negative 16. Put that into the calculator. I'm just going to copy and paste it. I find that easier. All All right, and then just like we did on our previous slide, we're going to plug that in. You don't want to round or anything, write all of the decimals. I'm actually going to run out of room, so I'm going to change my pen. Now, when you put that in the calculator, don't forget the parentheses, don't forget the square. And make sure your decimal is correct. All right, maximum height of the ball. Looks like it's 38 feet, 38.0625 feet. All right, so Zainab kicked a soccer ball with initial velocity of 26 feet per second. So that is your V, and then off the ground is going to be a 0. So you could write that 0 or not, it doesn't matter. I like to use Y and X. You don't have to, you can use H of T, that's fine. And write that 0 if you want. I don't like it, it's up to you. So I know my soccer ball was right here. Max height, you got to be careful because we need to find the x first, and that's the opposite of b over 2a. So opposite of 26 over 2 times negative 16. So that actually gets us 0.8125 seconds. Now, to find the maximum height, you have to plug that in. So we had y equals the negative 16, parentheses 0.8125 squared plus 26, and then the same decimal. Once again, definitely use the calculator for this. Decimals are not that fun. So 10.5625. So then you want to draw that point. So your x is a little less than 1, so I'm going to go to the left. And then it's a little above the 10 feet mark. So as long as you just draw a parabola that looks like that, you can label it. There you go. Oh, and then I forgot to say, this is your y-intercept. Your y-intercept, because she kicked it at the ground, is 0, 0. So at time 0, the ball was 0 feet off the ground. All right, what's the y-intercept of this one? 0, 5, because that's our c value. Once again, this is 0, 5. Axis of symmetry, x equals the opposite of b over 2a. All you want to do is plug in the values. Your b is 12, so it's opposite of 12 over 2 times your A value, which is 4. So negative 12 divided by 2 over 4 gets you x equals negative 1.5. And to get the y value, we're going to plug that in. Now you definitely can't forget the parentheses here because it's a negative. If you do, the calculator is going to do it incorrectly. All right, so 4 parentheses negative 1.5. Make sure you put that square on the outside of the parenthesis. Oh, wow, I made a boo-boo right here. Guys, don't do that. There was no squared there. So make sure that you erase that if you followed along with me. That was totally my fault. All right, get negative 4. So our x value of the vertex we said was negative 1.5, and then negative 4 for the y. All right, area means to multiply length times width. Does not matter if you put the 2x plus 3 on top, as long as they're together, okay? Because it says the length 2x plus 3, so it has to be either both on top or both on the side. Same with the 4x plus 7. You can't separate them. Multiply them. And then combine like terms. And make sure that you put it in standard form. So 12 plus 14 is 26. Don't forget the x. Okay. So here, x equals the opposite of b over 2a. So just plug in your b and your a value. So I get 0.75. So it takes 0.75 seconds for the ball to reach the maximum height. Now we have to find the maximum height, and we do that by plugging it in. Remember, I like to use y equals. If you use h of x, that's fine too. That's not going to get you a different answer. So wherever there's an x, you're going to plug in the answer that you just found. Remember, the x is time, so that's why we always find the time first. That's why we also use the letter t if you want to. So then the maximum height is 9. So 9 feet. Now, if my son got the Frisbee stuck on the roof, climbed 10 feet off the roof and threw it at a velocity of 8 seconds, so like I said, I like to use y. Negative 16 is the pull of gravity. My velocity that I threw the Frisbee was 8, so it's plus 8x. And then my rooftop was 10 feet off the ground. Now, even though this is asked last, you want to find the time first. Opposite of b is negative 8 over 2 times negative 16. Put that into the calculator. All right, so it takes 0.25 seconds for it to reach the max. Now, what is the max height? We plug that in. Don't forget the y-intercept. And then we'll graph it all in a minute. Negative 16, 0.25. Don't forget to square it. So then the max height is 11. So let's draw this out. I start at 10 feet because I'm on the roof. And then after 0.25 seconds, it reaches a max height of 11 and then goes down.